Among the dead he searched, wings tattered, hopes crushed. Rhysand, the mighty High Lord of Night, picked through the battlefield's brutal harvest, desperate for a sign of his brother Cassian. The lullaby of death, once a far-off myth, now droned in the buzzing of flies. Relief was fleeting. Every familiar wing he uncovered was another loss in the merciless war 2 years before the Wall. In the present, Feyre, no longer the broken girl who painted her sorrows, sat back within the gilded prison of the Spring Court. The painting before her was a lie, a bright, pretty lie. A mask to hide the rage burning within. When the brush snapped in her hand, it was more than frustration. It was the fracture of the facade she was forced to wear. Forced to play the dutiful consort, Feyre watched Ianthe's sickly, sweet lies weave through Tamlin's desperate bargains. Even as Tamlin welcomed the King of Hybern's monstrous forces, Feyre plotted. Quiet, patient, a wolf among sheep. Every whisper through the mating bond, every stolen glance, every concealed rage was a move toward vengeance. When Jurian and Hybern's commanders, the vacant-eyed twins, Dagdan and Branna, crossed into the Spring Court, Feyre knew her time was drawing near. When Lucian's heart turned against Tamlin too, Feyre seized their chance. Through shadowed forests and hidden paths, they ran, only to be hunted by the very brothers Lucian once called family. Blood on the ice, blades clashing. Feyre, weakened by Feybane, fought fiercely against Lucian's brothers. Fire, ice, fury, the magic in her blood barely enough. When Cassian and Azriel crashed from the skies, the truth exploded across the frozen court. Feyre, once the mortal girl, was now the High Lady of the Night Court. Home at last, Feyre reunited with the inner circle. Hearts heavier, bonds stronger. Together they plotted a desperate alliance among the fractured High Lords, the last hope to stand against Hybern's darkness. Yet while kingdoms raged outside, a more delicate battle brewed within. Feyre's sisters, made into High Fae against their will, struggled against despair. Nesta, burning with fury, her eyes molten ore. Elain, hollowed by grief. And yet, in her silence, a seer was born. In the shadows, alliances were struck with creatures older than memory. The Bone Carver, wearing the face of the child Feyre and Rhysand might have had. The Weaver, with beauty marred by a mouth of stumped teeth. And Bryaxis, the nightmare that simply asked for a window. Blades clashed and cauldrons cracked as Hybern unleashed terror across the lands. Heroes fell. Feyre's father sailed into battle, and fell, too. But in that moment of despair, Elain, sweet, broken Elain, thrust a blade through Hybern's throat, and Nesta, burning cold and bright, severed his head with a single, silent strike. Victory came at a cost. Rhysand, Feyre's mate and star-born king, sacrificed himself to remake the cauldron, and silence answered where their bond once sang. Feyre's raw scream tore the skies open, yet love, desperate and wild, answered her call. Each High Lord offered a fragment of their power, and from the ashes, Rhysand returned. Together, they stood under new skies, wounds deep but hearts whole. Feyre and Rhysand, High Lady and High Lord, architects of a fragile peace. And though darkness still lingered beyond distant shores, hope, loyalty, and love had conquered once more.